As we move forward and talking about Triple H and the plans, we move on to WWE King and Queen of the Ring. It is this weekend and something big that is going to happen. We've talked about this in the last 2 weeks leading up to this premium live event. And Triple H said, we talked about what they need to do in the future. Triple H said, we're going to do it right now. And that is the winner of the King and Queen of the Ring are going to be the number one contenders at SummerSlam for the championships of their choosing. So, yeah, we don't have to even wait. We talked about this just leading up to this event, and now we don't even have to wait for future King of the Rings to have a meaning. So it's great. This one's got a meaning, right? Right away. Boom. It's this weekend, and we've already got what we want in it.
Triple H checked out the program and took some great feedback from us. I'm just going to put that out there.
Oh, you very well. You know, I imagine he's probably taken some great feedback from the King and Queen of the Ring, or the King of the Rings from the past, at least, right? Because there has been a lot of them in the past. This overall will be the 12th King of the Ring. A pay-per-view event. I think they've had even more King of the Rings, but when it comes to a pay-per-view event perspective, we're going to have King of the Ring on a pay-per-view named for it for the 12th time. And as of right now, it is Gunther in the championship. He defeated Jey Uso, and he's going to take on either Tama Tonga or Randy Orton. That'll be decided on the upcoming SmackDown. So who is winning the men's King of the Ring, and who's going to SummerSlam to essentially face off for the championship and what would most likely be the main event?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Last week, y'all can go back to the tape and go back to the audio and see and listen that I said Gunther was going to lose last week to Jey Uso. So, you know what? I got to reverse course and go back and say Gunther is going to win against, I'm going to guess, Tama Tonga at this point. I think Tama Tonga is going to be the choice. I think they're going to do some dirty deeds to get Randy Orton out of the way. And then I still think that Gunther is still going to go over at this point. I had to reverse course. I figured there was going to be some sort of bloodline, almost like a little civil war going on with Jey Uso and maybe Tama Tonga, but obviously that's not happening. I was kind of surprised by the result. So I do think Gunther is going to pull it out. And Gunther, again, this is just another step in his legacy that he's already established as the ring general. He's going to be, as I think Pat McAfee called him King General. So I think that's what he coined the phrase. So he could be the King General, which eventually will lead to him being the WWE Champion. So I think Gunther is going to be in for a nice. I think he's going to be in for a nice King of the Ring victory.
I mean, it definitely adds some caveat because whoever does win, right, is going on to face most likely either Cody Rhodes or Damian Priest. Or, hey, maybe even like Drew McIntyre, right, for the championship. Yeah. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. I mean, that could be a World Heavyweight Championship match. Remember, Cody Rhodes is on SmackDown. So if Gunther wins, he might go after the Raw champion, right? Or if Randy Orton or Tama Tonga win, you go after Cody Rhodes. So we could potentially have Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes main eventing SummerSlam. That's a potential one right there. I mean, it would have been interesting if Jey Uso won and it was Jey Uso versus Tama Tonga, you know, in the championship of the King of the Ring, kind of setting up those bloodline seeds for what we expect to be way more stuff going on when it comes to peeling the onion in this bloodline storyline. But yeah, I would say Gunther has got to be the favorite going into this weekend. But moving on to the women's side of things, you got Lyra. There you go, Lyra nice. Valkyria. She has, on this tournament thus far, defeated Dakota Kai, Zoe Stark, and this past week on Raw, Io Sky in a 20-minute match, almost double the length of any of the women's Queen of the Ring matches before, and she will face off against the winner of Nia Jax and Bianca Belair in their SmackDown semifinal in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So my question is who's winning the Queen of the Ring? Who is going to SummerSlam to face either Bayley or, as of right now, Becky Lynch for the Women's Championship?
I keep going back and forth on this one because I did accurately predict that Lyra Valkyria would be a dark horse in this tournament when we talked about this a few weeks ago. I was incorrect. I thought Io Sky would somehow pull it out, you know, some dirty deeds, some damage control to get to the finals. But I'm I'm actually pleasantly surprised because I think Lyra Valkyria is a future champion and the future of the women's division. So I think she's going to face Bianca Belair for the Queen of the Ring. But I'm changing course here. And I think, and you mentioned Becky Lynch, I think it's going to face off Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch at a later date. So I think Lyra Valkyria is going to be the queen of the ring. They're going to strap a rocket. They're going to strap a rocket to her, and she's going to go to the moon, and she's going to beat Becky Lynch down the line again.
You think it's going to be Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch at SummerSlam? Is that what you're saying?
I would love that. I think with the Irish ties and the way, and I think here's the thing I love about it is they don't have to build it as some nasty feud against somebody who, Lyra looked up to Becky and this and that. They can just have a match based on respect, their Irish heritage. I think it would be super cool, and just have a great match with a great story. That would be fantastic for SummerSlam.
Becky Lynch, though, she's got a championship match at King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view this weekend against Liv Morgan, who is leaving Saudi Arabia with the women's championship on the Raw side.
Well, I think I tipped my hand on that one just a moment ago. So I think
Becky Lynch. I think the championship changed hands in the sense of Becky Lynch, won it, after Rhea Ripley's injury, the injury she suffered, putting her out of action. I think we could potentially have a championship title change this weekend, and Liv Morgan, right, might grab this championship and set herself up for what might be down the line a rematch against Rhea Ripley. And I think, that would be quite interesting. I think when it comes to who I think might win King and Queen or Queen of the Ring, I think I'm looking at Bianca Belair. I'm thinking about her beating Nia Jax. I'm thinking about her winning, and I'm thinking about her going on to face Bayley at SummerSlam. And if you remember 2 years ago at SummerSlam, it was Bayley who came out right after that match with Bianca Belair to kind of, bring her return into WWE and essentially form Damage Control. Right. So this could be, kind of a harken back to SummerSlam 2022. Now in 2024, Bayley, Bianca Belair, the SmackDown Women's Championship. That's my predictions for SummerSlam.
Nobody's complaining about that, by the way. I mean, either way, I think in this situation, since we're talking the Queen of the Ring, whether it's Lyra, Bianca, or Nia Jax, even if Nia Jax wins, which that's certainly a possibility, she's one of three left, so she's with an odd, she's got a 1/3 of a chance to win. So any one of those matching up with the respective champion from each, from whoever it is at that point, whether say Becky loses to Liv, whatever the case may be. But as it stands, they're going to be all good matches, I think, either way.
Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed, a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. Do you see the title changing hands here? Do you see Chad Gable maybe getting some of his redemption now as a heel, becoming Intercontinental Champion, or Sami Zayn retain in front of a crowd in which a couple years ago he couldn't perform in front of?
I really think it's Chad Gable's time. I think Chad Gable, his character, his evolution of his character as a heel has been his best work outside of the ring. We know how great he is in the ring. I've talked about it. We've talked about it many, many times on this podcast for years. And he just needed a fresh coat of paint from a character perspective, because here's the thing. You can be a hell of a wrestler in the ring, but if you're not great outside the ropes and people aren't buying into your character, then you're not there's only so much you can do. So in this case, this is his best work as a heel. I think he's been great on the microphone. I think he's just been a believable heel as well, where he just berates his Alpha Academy cohorts. And I will tell you this right now, Chad Gable he's going to win that match, and I think he has a pretty decent title reign. And I do think down the line we'll see Alpha Academy break up. But I do think for the time being he's going to be the champ. Otis, Tozawa, and I forget her name off the top of my head, but she's also going to be involved. The three of them are going to be behind him. Maxine Dupree, thank you.
Cody Rhodes, Logan Paul, the U.S. Championship is not on the line, so it won't be WrestleMania 6 style title versus title here. So Logan Paul has the chance, though, to leave with 2 championship belts from Saudi Arabia, while Cody Rhodes trying to just defend his one. Do you see the upset of the century happening here? And not necessarily an upset of the century when it comes to Logan Paul. I think he's quite qualified here. But do you see Cody Rhodes' run for at least the time being coming to an abrupt end, and Logan Paul, I mean, the cocky prime guy who's got his logo on the center of the ring, probably will have it this weekend in Saudi Arabia on the center of the ring. Will he be the double champion of WWE, leaving King and Queen of the Ring?
Well, I'll say this. I forgot about Maxine Dupree. I forgot her name for a second. So I would say Maxine Dupree has a better chance at a women's championship than Cody Rhodes, or than Logan Paul losing to Cody Rhodes or winning against Cody Rhodes for the championship. I just don't see Logan Paul as the heavyweight champion. I don't see him universal champion. I don't see him being anything higher than what he is right now. I think we'd see a better shot of Maxine Dupree becoming the women's champion over Logan Paul winning that championship. I'm just saying.
It would set up for some interesting stuff. We all know, though, that that's one of the little complaints about WWE. Storylines have been all right. Matches have been really good. I mean, the excitement around events has been great lately. But one thing that kind of still seems very, similar to, WWE from years past when people didn't like it so much. And one complaint, if you were to find a complaint in WWE, there's a few. But one that I think people definitely had after France about, wrestling perspective is just – these events, they're treated very big. Everything's kind of brought up there like it's a WrestleMania, like everything's given its time, everything's getting proper build. But at the end of the day, we're still getting, like I said, these B pay-per-views are getting some of the results that we got back in the day. When Brock Lesnar took on Hardcore Holly for the championship, it didn't have a huge WrestleMania build. It had a B-show pay-per-view build, and Brock Lesnar went through Hardcore Holly, and we remember some other, people who got shots at titles, Kevin Nash going up against Triple H, and Triple H obviously retaining, so there was really not the fear that the main champion was going to lose against some of those opponents. So even with these events kind of treated bigger deal, treated like bigger, everything nowadays is treated like a big 4 pay-per-view. But we're still getting the, I guess, B show pay-per-view, results. And I think we're probably going to get that here for the most part when it comes to Cody Rhodes. Another person, as Damian Priest liked to say to Jey Uso before Backlash, another person being fed to the machine. They're hyping it up well. They're making Logan Paul seem very formidable, but I just can't see Cody Rhodes losing.
It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's simple as that.